Joan of Arc, the illiterate young woman who, in 2 years leading the French army, liberated Orléans and led Charles VII to the coronation of France during the 100 Years' War. Born around January 6, 1412, in the village of Domremy, Joan of Arc was a simple peasant girl, the daughter of Jacques d'Arc and Isabelle Romay. Since childhood, she stood out for her piety, her love for the poor, and her frequent attendance at church. She could not read or write, but she had a heart turned to God and a deep devotion. At the age of 13, Joan began to hear mysterious voices accompanied by an intense light. She identified them as those of Saint Michael the Archangel, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret. These voices, according to her, came from God and called her to a bold mission, to free France from English occupation and lead the Dauphin Charles to his coronation as the legitimate king. In the midst of the 100 Years' War, with France divided between the supporters of King Charles VII and the Burgundians, allies of the English, Joan faced resistance to being heard. But with faith and persistence, she managed to get Robert de Baudricourt to send her to the Dauphin in Chinon. There she surprised everyone by recognizing the king in disguise and revealed a personal secret that convinced him of the truth of her mission. Before going to war, Joan was examined by theologians in Poitiers and approved. Dressed in armor and wearing men's clothing to preserve her chastity, she led troops to Orléans, which was under siege. On May 8, 1429, the city was liberated, and her presence inspired a wave of victories. Shortly after, she led the king to the Cathedral of Reims, where Charles VII was crowned on July 17th, with Joan at his side, holding his standard. After her coronation, Joan wanted to continue the fight, but the king and his advisers, interested in negotiating with the Duke of Burgundy, reduced their support. She participated in minor battles, and in May 1430, while trying to defend the city of Compiègne, she was captured by Burgundian forces. Sold to the English, Joan was handed over to the Bishop of Beauvais, Pierre Cochon, a Burgundian supporter, and subjected to a fraudulent trial for heresy in Rouen, without a bishop at the time. She was denied a defense, held in military prison, in violation of canonical norms, and faced judges who sought her conviction at all costs. Even without concrete evidence, she was accused of demonic practices, wearing men's clothing, and disobedience to the church. Despite the pressure, she remained firm. For a moment, when faced with the set fire, she signed a conditional retraction, but when she realized she had been deceived, she reaffirmed her fidelity to the voices and the mission she had received from God. For this reason, she was considered a repeat heretic. On May 30th, 1431, at the age of 19, Joan was burned alive in the market square of Rouen. Her last words were the name of Jesus. 24 years later, a new process, that of rehabilitation, was conducted by the Church, which annulled her conviction. In 1909, she was beatified by Pius X, and in 1920, canonized by Benedict XV. Joan of Arc went from being a condemned heretic to the patron saint of France. A young woman who, in 2 years, changed the course of her nation and marked the history of the Church with her faith, courage, and total dedication to the will of God.